Welcome to the Heen View, a podcast series which interviews a range of sport club representatives and leading professional sport club personnel during the COVID-19 shutdown. We find out what these people are doing during the current health crisis with some of our most popular sports seasons postponed. Today, we are coming from the Portarlington Golf Club Pro Shop, and this podcast has been sponsored by the Bendigo Community Bank, Drysdale and Portarlington branches. And we just had Chris Niven on, who was the Senior Branch Manager, and he was terrific to talk to about.
Go and see him.
Yeah, go and see him. There's plenty of signage around here, so they're a great bank on the Ballerine, so come and check them out. And they've kindly sponsored us for episode 34 of the Heen View podcast, so we thank them for the support. I'm Mark Heenan, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Mark Stone. Now, Stoney, there's not many episodes to go for this year, but this is a real special one because we're actually at a golf club sponsored by the bank, and we're going to have a meal afterwards. The golf club's looking in immaculate condition, and it's just a great honour to be down here.
Great place to be. I've got a couple of questions for our guests about the game of golf and what it takes to be a professional golfer.
Absolutely, and just quietly, I think he's had a few holes in one as well, so we might even talk about how that eventuated. Let's bring him on. Stoney, Mark Stone, today's guest was appointed as the head professional at the Portarlington Golf Club in 2008. He is a PGA Pro registered with the Professional Golfers Association of Australia and has many years of teaching experience in golf and can help you improve your game. He played on the Australian Tour from 2001 to 2008, and he's won over a dozen Pro-Am events. He played in 3 Australian Masters Championships, 4 Australian PGAs, the New Zealand Open, and the Jacob Creeks Open, which I believe is in South Australia. He competed in multiple state opens and PGA championships. His lowest score of 9 under came at the Pambula Merimbula Golf Club in 2005 at the New South Wales PGA, and I actually didn't go to that event, but I was there last year actually, and it's a nice part of the world. His lowest round here at 11 under par, 61, came also recently as well with the Portarlington Golf Club, and as I said, he's had 4 holes in one. We welcome to the Heen View podcast for episode 34, Portarlington Golf Club head professional Matt Milne.
Hi,
welcome, Matt.
Come in.
Give him a clap, everybody.
Got a good shirt on too.
He has.
Hey, guys.
He's got a pink. He's going to get a rubbing from some of his golf club mates.
Sure
We're going to have to ask him about those maxi videos as well. I'm
very
intrigued about that. I've got a few props as well, Matt Milne. I know that you're a bit of a character, but I guess in some ways, Matt, you've seen a lot in this time, not just in COVID, but as far as someone that works at this club, there's been a big transformation. And, you know, as I said, we'll talk to you about some of the videos that you put out, particularly during around the safety of golf and allowing people to play golf. But I guess what are some of the things that you've had to adjust to ensure that this place keeps open? How challenging has it been?
Thanks for inviting me on. It's been very challenging. Like through this time, there's been a lot of compliance that we need to do from the start of COVID to at least get us back to playing again in relation to touch points and gatherings of people around the golf course. So we've been really structured in that and trying to get the members and visitors on board. Not allowed to touch the flag sticks, arriving to the course 10 to 15 minutes before your tee time, just to avoid having those large gatherings of people here. Had to have all the drink taps turned off, no more scorecards, trying to keep scorecards to a minimum where... Guys, we're also marking our own scorecards at the moment, so once you've finished your round, sign your card and straight in the box. 46 points for... I think we'll move forward in the future as well in golf and golf clubs from an operational thing, but it was really just trying to educate everyone who was coming that, yeah, it's unusual times and it's a very different period, and we just had to adapt for that.
Matty, this morning I was listening to 3AW in the truck as I was working for another company, and I heard that the game of golf has gone through the roof. Memberships, is it the same here at Portarlington? The membership's gone through the roof?
Yeah, it is. We've sort of had, I suppose, record numbers of not only members playing competitions, but also green fee and social players, because there hasn't been any footy on. Sort of, there was no cricket. Obviously, we had footy through the winter, but junior sport, members and people who would normally head north and go holidaying for that 3 months, they've all been at home, and there's been a sort of a big influx of people trying to play. We've had quite a lot of demand on our timesheets and members who have always got a game missing out because we just haven't got enough spots to cater for everyone. And with COVID, normally we'd work off a 7-minute time interval between our groups, but in the middle of COVID, when we got reduced to groups of 2, we had to make them 10-minute gaps, and just all because of that gathering number. So on a Saturday, we'd normally put through, say, 232 players in the comp, sort of through 1 tee starts, and the timings were only able to get about 160. So we had a lot of waiting lists and that for members to try and play. And then even when we were back in groups of 2, we had time where we were booked from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. every slot because we only got 2 going out there, and it was just a lot of demand for golf. We're still seeing it through now that not a lot else to do outside socially, so golf has sort of picked up. So hopefully golf will continue in this vein moving forward.
Now, I've recently returned to cricket after a 5-year absence, but the point that I want to talk about, apart from making run, is the safety around that. You know, like for instance, you know, you use a QR code to scan in, you're using sanitizer out on the field and all that. For one, I mean, just talk about the pro shop itself. You've got a sanitizer station here. Do you need to do the QR code? What are some of the other safety precautions that you have? I mean, we can talk about the YouTube clips in a sec, you know, arrival at the course and the timings.
So arrival at the course, so if you come in to play golf, we're taking your details. So all our members are obviously in the system, so they're all recorded on a daily timesheet, and then visitors are now as well. So we have the sanitizer station as you enter. We're able to use hire equipment at the moment, so at the completion of the round, they're all washed and then sanitised as well, so for the next person that can use it. And then just keep going through sanitizer, just spraying on the high populated areas around the counter and FBOS machines and that. We have probably found a massive increase of electronic payments now rather than the cash, so that's definitely been a big change as well with people's habits.
Curiosity for me, who designs a course, who puts the bunkers in, and how's the course here at Portarlington?
Well, we have course designers that obviously have a look at the way the courses are designed. We have obviously greenkeepers here who maintain the course and prepare that, and then we have our course architect here who's actually just having a look at some improvements for our current layout to try and improve it even more.
Now, you've had a bit of a change of leadership at the top. I know you're in the pro shop, and you know we can talk about some of the features of the pro shop, and we're sort of in the apparel section of the pro shop. But change at the top, obviously, thanks to Chris to allowing us to get this involvement going with the golf club. But Ron Stockdale was the previous CEO. Now we've got Michael Phillips. So he's come with a bit of experience. I think he's worked a fair bit interstate as well. Yes. So how's that changeover been from a golf club point of view? And are you looking to keep this as one of the premier golf courses on the Ballerine?
Yeah, I think we are. We're in a unique position down here that with, I suppose, the business model we have here with quite a large bistro and entertainment area that we do able to increase our revenue through here compared to other clubs that don't have those sources. So Michael comes with a lot of experience in not only golf, but the hospitality and entertainment area. So he brings a lot of experience from that and some fresh ideas moving forward. He's been in the role now for maybe three weeks. So we've seen some changes already, I suppose, accountability for everybody and put a bit more autonomy on the staff and doing those types of things. So still, I think, feeling his way through, but because we're in these COVID times, we're still so restricted on what we could do with the limits of how many you can have inside and those things with the bistro.
Did you close at all? Did any part of the golf club close during COVID?
Yeah, so from the 27th of March, the whole golf course itself was shut for 6 weeks, so pro shop included. The ground staff were able to just do general maintenance under COVID requirements. We got back to golf course being open, would have been around mid-May, and then the clubhouse was still closed for probably another 6 weeks through there. And then the clubhouse was reopened again, but then they had to shut again. So they've nearly probably been closed for 6 months, 5 to 6 months there. And it's been very difficult for everyone in the industry, whereas from our golfing side, playing golf's actually boomed through the last period. So we've recovered better than, I suppose, a lot of other businesses.
Curiosity, Matty, I've moved to the Ballerine. I'm a novice. I'm a hacker. Right, I've come to the Portarlington Pro Shop here and I've gone, Matty, Milne, where is he? Where is Matt? Matt, I want to be a better golfer. What do you do for me?
I'll just send you to my teaching pro. But
no, the whole size of the golf club, all that sort of thing. How does that work?
Yeah. So everyone's obviously a different shape and size, structure, different swing speeds and power. So within a golf club, there is a lot of technicalities of making sure you do have something that's the right size for you. So there's no use in giving 5'4" person a golf club that's needed by a 6'3". So we do a lot of custom fitting here and coaching at the club. So we've got myself and Tyson, who's my teaching and assistant pro here. We also have a trainee as well, who's studying to be a PGA member. So there's plenty of options around here for golf lessons and fitting for golf clubs. So we've got our tech centre where you can come in and get fitted and do your lessons. And then there's obviously a lot of other golfing areas as well, golf facilities that you can get lessons as well.
Even if it's wet too, I mean, you can use the pro shop, you can shop and get shoes and apparel. But one of the big features is that not every pro shop has this, but you got the simulator. And I also done my research here too, that there was a YouTube video of you and thinking about 2017 where you were seeing the new outlook to the pro shop. Was that building the new simulator, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So we had a renovation. Yeah, it must have been 4 or 5 years ago now where we increased the floor space of the pro shop by twice the size. and with that we put in an indoor teaching simulator for it, which is really popular and well used through sort of even the winter months when, as you say, we do get that inclement weather, and a lot of lessons we used to cancel, now we can actually continue with those. So it's been a great asset to the business and the club. And I think people's expectations with a golf lesson now has changed from going out onto the driving range, not having a camera or an iPad filming you, whereas now we can have all that there at your fingertips and send you a video of your lesson at the conclusion as you're walking to your car. So it's really a lot more professional now.
Now again, I'm a novice at the game. People talk about Ambrose and 4-ball. How many different types of golf game are there that you can play?
Yeah, well the main ones for individual golf really is stroke, and then there's a Stableford and par format. They're probably the three most popular individual games, and then you can start getting into the teams games, which is like it's a 4-ball best ball, but it's only 2 players, which is a bit Irish. But then there's like Ambroses, which is generally teams of 2, 3 or 4, and you've got Irish foursomes, you've got Jensoms, you've got Canadian. There's lots of different varieties. So particularly in, I suppose, competition style, but you'll find that most people, when they go out and play socially, they just go out and play stroke and that. But with a Stableford or par format, if you're a less skilled golfer, once you reach a certain number of shots, you can pick it up and put it in your pocket and go to the next hole, and you've just wiped the hole. So that's a bit more player friendly, whereas some of the higher handicappers like that format, but the lower handicappers prefer stroke.
Corporate days, do they still happening?
Yeah, we're a bit limited at the moment with those two because of the outside numbers. We're not having shotgun starts at the moment, so we are still having social groups come and play, but based on a tee time situation, and same as what the members do, are not arriving all at the same time. But since the release of the outside gathering number now being 50, there's a little bit more flexibility on that side of it at the moment.
How's your Pro-Am affected next year? Because I think it's a Barwon Cleaning Surprise.
Pro-Am,
Pro-Am. Mm-hmm. They sponsor it and they do a good job, but it's obviously been in the lead up to the Vic Open as well. Are you going to run it, and what are some of the parameters around it?
Yeah, so ours has been postponed for this year. We're hoping to potentially have it towards the end of 2021, but based on obviously the sponsorship opportunities that are probably out there with certain businesses, and it's a bit hard to go and ask for sponsorship for an event when you don't know the financial position.
You're not impacted because of the Vic Open? Does it incent?
No, we before the Vic Open, sort of at 13th Beach, we ran it at different times of the year, and it's just been over the last 3 to 4 years that we've tried to join in with 13th and be around that time to try and increase the quality of the players that we get coming here.
Clifton Springs has one as well.
Yeah, the Springs had one, but I don't think they've had one for the last couple of years. So yeah, we're hoping that we can still have it in 2021 because it'll be our 10th. Yeah, we wanted to try and do something special for that, but I'm sure a lot of the other clubs in Victoria are probably in the same boat as us, that they want to put it off and then do it later in the year.
Let's talk about Matt Milne, the golfer. Now, you came here as a head professional in 2008. Yep. Now, we mentioned in the intro that you've had a bit of success winning Pro-Ams and also being on the tour and all that sort of stuff. When you sort of finished playing as a tour professional, was that the goal to get a position within a pro shop? And what landed you here at Portarlington?
Yeah, I think I was probably like a lot of golf pros out there. You've got the ambition to play full time, which I was lucky enough to do for those 7 years, but it got to a point where you run out of money and you've got a wife and you're looking at starting a family. So I think like everybody. So I was lucky that I had some sponsors that helped me get through until the end of 2008. And then I played my junior golf at Clifton Springs and Geelong. So I've been from this area and had worked here previously, and then was just sort of lucky enough when the job came up, I applied for it, and lucky enough to get it. So I've been here ever since.
I want to take you back. You're a young fella. I'm a football and cricketer. He knows plays cricket. I think he played football at some stage. So what made you decide that golf was your game? I'm really always curious about what makes people decide what they're going to play.
Yeah, when I was a young tacker, I was a basketballer. Used to just follow my dad. He used to play basketball and that. So I did that as a junior. Did a little bit of footy at school, but not a lot, just in primary. And then got to about maybe 11, and then sort of went out with dad. I was born in Tasmania, and he used to play golf there. So on a Saturday, I'd tag along, caddy for him. He'd go in and have beers after golf, and I'd then take his clubs and just go out and play. It was just a little 9-hole public course that he was a member at, and that probably started it. And then when we sort of moved to Victoria, got in a lot more serious then when we moved to Clifton Springs, and we sort of lived on the course, and I was able to go out and play.
But going back to that though, like, I mean, I saw your age and all that, and you're a couple of years older than me, but I guess in some ways, going back to that, like, in the 90s and that sort of thing, basketball was so big, particularly around the Chicago Bulls era, and people were playing, maybe in primary schools and all that. I mean, like, who were some of the inspirations for you as a golfer, not just within family and close peers, but were you getting up and watching the Masters and thinking, oh, Augusta's going to be on around Easter period and got to watch the Masters, or was it the Australian Open? Did you meet Craig Parry, or did you have any affiliation with any of the pro golfers as a youngster?
Only, I suppose, the club pro at the courses that I was playing at. So you'd always get up and watch the Masters, and you'd have putting comps with your mates at Clifton Springs, and one you'd be Nick Faldo, and the other one would be Greg Norman, and that type of thing. So we were lucky at the Springs that there was probably a core group of 6 or 8 of us that were around the same age. We'd always be at the golf course, and you'd have putting comps, then you go and play on the course. So, and then in the pro at the Springs there, I suppose in a way took me under his wing and started just to work casually for him. And then from there, sort of my talent was starting to come out, and I was starting to play better. And then he offered me sort of some part-time work, and then it led into full-time, and then I started the traineeship.
Was golf always the career for you? And I'm not just talking about being a tour professional in that sense, but working as a head professional coach within a golf club, and then working casually or around the Springs and being in that area. I mean, had you considered another career? I mean, you obviously seem like you've got a pretty good business acumen, very approachable, very friendly. You got a good way of marketing and doing the compliance, as you said.
Yep.
So, was there another career for you outside of golf?
I think those from my influence from my parents. My dad was an accountant, so that was always the thing, was with maths and that business side of it. But it was really all as a golfer.
As well,
no, I just did VCE, and that was it. And so pretty much after I finished school, I did golf straight away full time. I was lucky my parents sort of supported me through that while I was an amateur. And then when you do your traineeship, there's a lot of study involved in that, which is from a business side. It's not only just learning how to teach golf and fix golf clubs and all that, but you're also learning about running a pro shop and doing golf operations, and then that business side as well. So you get a bit of a rounding in all areas from a golf perspective.
Well, driving, I just mentioned to Mark, the putting green is very nice. It's very not bad at putting green. I'm a golfer here. Which hole have we got to watch out for? Which is the hardest for the players that come out here?
I would say,
and why?
Like our signature hole is probably our 17th hole, which is a par 3 over water. So you've probably got to carry it around 120 metres to get over the water. Length of the hole is about 150. So that one's sort of visually very appealing, but if you're not a longer hitter, that water comes into play a little bit. Yeah. So our back 9, I think, has probably got a little bit more character than the front 9. So we've got some water features on those around sort of 15, 16 and 18 and 17 where the water comes into play. Yeah. We're not a very long course in distance, but we're sort of a tricky course. The greens aren't overly big, and there's a little bit of slope to them. So it's a very good members course. We're not a championship course like a St Andrews or anything like that. It's a very playable members facility.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Tell me this. I've got parents that actually live on a golf course at Ballerine Lakes, but also I've got a bit of a connection to golf, having been played in these pro-ams and played as a youngster as well. I mean, nothing ever that great or anything like that, but I guess in some ways, one thing that intrigues me about this particular golf course and the way the amount of people are moving to the Ballerine, having an 18-hole golf course, and as I said with the Ballerine Lakes, that used to be 18 holes, now it's 19. Is there any pressure on, I suppose, it's a bit of a controversial question, I don't want to try and get you a headline grabber, but on developers, as in housing developments, particularly as you've got an 18-hole golf course, and with more people moving to Ballerine, to have pressure on making this still an 18-hole golf course, while these areas on the Ballerine are growing in people sizes and population and house developments and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think we've got the way the course itself is zoned is it can't be done for residential. So we're probably lucky from that perspective that we can't be sold off from that perspective. So but you can sort of see that the urban growth coming out is getting there, and a lot of the courses, like in Melbourne, I saw one the other day that they were looking at trying to reduce it to 9 holes and things like that. So we're lucky that we've got 18 holes, but it is in a smaller parcel of land compared to what other facilities are.
Well, I remember going to the President's Cup last year and just getting a car park, and I was very lucky enough to go there.
Yeah.
It's just you got the housing developments literally backing onto the golf course, and here we are, got the world's biggest event happening.
We're lucky even with ours. We don't have a lot of houses around the course. It's sort of more farmland and that.
It's not pushing towards that, is it? I mean,
no.
And the reason I ask is obviously this is a popular area. People might want to retire down here and use the golf course, and they might want to expand on their house development.
Yeah, but who knows? Who knows with council in 15, 20 years time, it may change. But at the moment we're
maybe you'll still be professional there.
Well,
just with the kids, I'm always thinking about, we've got Auskick and we've got Milo cricket. Is there an equivalent for young children to come and play the game of golf and learn? And have you got young members?
Yeah, they have. We've got a junior program that we run that Tyson and Max run for us. So we have Sunday morning clinics for the young kids who are wanting to just start out, and then we have a progression plan for when they start to get more advanced, that they can go into a sort of more condensed class to get a bit more specialised coaching. So it's an area it's always a bit of a hard one to try and get kids to play, because we are located a bit away from town and they can't ride their bike here and stuff compared to other places. But it's something that the club's looking at trying to grow and get more kids involved.
We've seen last week that Tiger and the Shark had their boys playing with them in a competition. So might have a father-son or a daughter-dad.
Yeah, I have a son he sort of plays. He's got a little bit of talent there, but he's a little lazy, if you like. Yeah. he likes other things.
He likes making golf videos.
Yeah, golf videos. Yeah. He sort of does my the YouTube editing and videos and stuff like that. So that's something that he really enjoys. But I'd like to see him on the course a bit more. But you don't want to push them too much. Just let them find their feet and whatever. He's only 12, so.
Well, before I ask about that, what's been the biggest highlight for you? Like, as not just here, but as a golfer, what is a single standout for you as a playing professional, and also as a spectator experience? Have you been overseas and you've seen some of the events as a spectator? So what does golf mean to you, and what are some of those best memories that you've had in golf, playing wise but also spectator wise?
Yeah, I suppose from a playing perspective, when I finished third in the Victorian Open back in 2005, that was probably
where was that held at?
That was at Woodlands Golf Club. So so that was probably from a playing perspective, that when I was a kid and you'd go to watch the Vic Open and that, you'd always dream to be there playing in those events. And as a golfer, you sort of look at it and you think, oh, am I good enough to play there? And in my mind, it was always, I'd just love to play one. Yeah. And then after you play one, you're like, play crap, and you miss the cut, and then I hope you get to play another one. So, but once you start to play a few, you start to feel a bit more comfortable. So that was probably the highlight from a golfing perspective. I actually did lead the Australian Masters one year. I was in the first group and I birdied the first hole and I led.
You can put that memory back.
That was at Huntingdale, yeah. So I birdied the first and I was the first group out, so I was leading the Masters one year. So I've got that.
Did someone take a screenshot of it?
No, we couldn't use the phones. But I haven't been over to any overseas tournaments like the Masters and that, but I've heard from guys that have been over there. They reckon it's amazing. You don't really get a true understanding of how hilly it is and how slopey the golf course is when you look at it on TV. So I'd love to go and see that at some stage, but that's obviously pretty hard to get a ticket and to get over there.
And they'll go back to its normal time slot. So we just had the Masters, and Dustin Johnson won the US Masters, and I love watching it. But also, it'll go back to normal time slot next year. So hopefully we can get some crowds back.
Well, that's it. I've had some mates, golf pros, who have taken tours over there to the States with their members. So all of a sudden you could try.
Just on that, you do tours too, don't you? Did I see a video where you were taking a tour to Tasmania?
We did one over to Barnbougle a few years ago. We had about eight or 12 of us went over there and spent 3 or 4 days playing at Barnbougle. Yeah. So it's something that since COVID's finished, we might actually look at doing that over the next 12, 18 months of when we can start to do a little bit of travel.
Now, Matty, I brought a little prop with me because I'm fascinated by this. I can get it, but I'm fascinated by this Matt Milne YouTube channel because I've seen some funny clips, and he's like the gatekeeper of the Portarlington Golf Club, and love the bits with Maxie, and then he talks about his son Noah, and seen some videos there. But there's two I want to ask about. There was a toilet roll one that you put into the YouTube. You had, I think, a toilet roll on the bottom head of the club for some reason, and I don't know what the other one was. Oh, the greeting to the club when one of your assistants here in Maxie rocked up a bit too early to the golf club, and you had to tell him what to do, and then you use this as the stick. He goes, he's too close, not 1.5 metres away. So a bit of humour in there. He was a bit of a guinea pig there.
It was, we try to make a little bit of fun with our videos. Through COVID, everything was obviously so serious and that, so we just try to make a little bit of fun with it, because as a person, you don't want to be told, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and as soon as you tell that, people just keep doing it. So we just try to have some fun with it. The toilet roll drill, I've seen people talking about that, just something that's different that you can just do at home. So some of the videos we've had is just doing different training methods at home that you can use to improve your golf.
And you've been doing it from your home as well.
Yeah, yep.
So you just type in Matt Milne video, it'll come up. Golf,
Matt Milne Golf. Yeah, I think there's actually an actor in England, Matt Milne, who's very successful. That's not me. So Matt Milne Golf, and you're
not trying to look at those.
No.
One last one for me. Right, as a professional golfer, still improve, and what's the one thing you keep working on again?
I don't get to play a lot myself these days, but if it was one thing I'd say to a golfer to work on, would be the inside 100 metres. That'd be the quickest way to try and improve your scores, is that short game, pitching, putting, inside 100. You look at, say, Dustin Johnson before. in that area now, he's probably world class. He smashes it off the tee, so he's got that advantage over a lot in the field. But generally, the guys who win most weeks are going to be the guys who are best inside 100. So, and even from our club golfer, if you can be good inside that distance, you're going to improve your handicap quite a lot.
I noticed on one of your YouTube videos when you did about the safety around the bunkers and that you had to clean up and all that. You were very modest about it, but you played the shot and then you were telling me you were looking on screen and then the ball was so close to the hole and it was such a great shot, but you almost had to, you were focusing on doing the right thing by your golfers when they come to the golf course. So you're a man of many talents there.
I was disappointed it didn't go in, actually.
Have you ever had many shots that have gone in from the bunker?
Yeah. When you practice a lot, what they say, the more you practice, the luckier you get. So,
to any youngsters out there, is hard work and someone like yourself that's applied to the craft and some of the achievements that he's had. Just one before I go, where was the most memorable hole-in-one you got?
Probably in South Australia at Murray Bridge in the Trainee Championship. So this is probably 20 years ago. It was a tournament I ended up winning there, and it was I think it was the third round that it went in. A couple others I've had have all just been in social rounds with mates and that sort of stuff. So in tournaments, it's sort of the harder time to do them. So when you get them, you've got to sort of savour them.
How about that, Mark Stone? Nailing one in the premiership quarter in the third round. Pretty impressive. Even when the pressure's on, when the crowd's watching, and then you.
No, there was no crowds in the trainees.
It was a clutch hole-in-one. There you go. Well, Matt Milne, we wanted to thank you for coming on the Stoneheen View episode 34 podcast. This podcast is being presented by the Bendigo Community Bank, Portarlington and Drysdale branches. And thanks for Chris Niven for coming down for the elevator pitch.
Part of the audience.
Yes, he's part of the audience, so a bit of a clap for Chris. Yeah. And he is part of, obviously, that network with the Bendigo Community Bank network. So we thank them for sponsoring us. And obviously, their branches are at 44 Newcombe Street in Portarlington and also currently at Unit 113 Hancock Street. But they're building a new facility in Murranuck Road. So that's going to be ready in 2021. So yes, even though they've sort of announced it, we want to promote their customers that if they want to come in and do some banking, and even though it's during COVID, that,
go and see Chris.
Yeah, go and see Chris. And there's a new community development there. So Portarlington Golf Club, it's located at 130 Hood Road, sort of on the outskirts, on the indented head side of Portarlington. So you can check out their Instagram and Facebook pages and go to portarlingtongolf.com.au. I'm sure you'll see a picture of Matt Milne. And Matt Milne, thank you for joining us today. Something different and unique to the club to have a podcast set up in your pro shop.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Mark Stone, we've almost come to the end of the year, but thank you for being part of this outside podcast. And obviously, a few little credits to get through. Stoneheen Views on Facebook. You can type us in onto Instagram. The podcast is available also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and the launching platform is on Podbean. And you've created the YouTube channel. We've been talking about that today. And what else are we on as well?
We're on Twitter.
Yes, at Stoneheen View. So we're coming up for our season finale next week to the end of the year. We've gone every week straight from the end of April, and it's been a great thing that we've done to come to businesses. And we'll talk about that coming up later in the week with our final episode for the year. But thank you for joining us today, and looking forward to
the food, Mark.
Yes. So come on down to the Portarlington Golf Club where they do a great feed. So we'll see you next time. That has been episode 34 of the Stoneheen View podcast. Bye for now, and we'll see you soon for our final podcast for the Stoneheen View for the year. Thank you very much. Bye.